them recently. Getting into this game, and it's going to be the Secret Paladin from MagicWind versus the Druid from Valeera. So, good start for MagicWind as far as the deck choice goes. But Living Roots is going to be pretty useful here.
Yes, actually, decided to play right away.
You have to play it right away in this situation. You have to utilize your
Otherwise,
hero power with those Living Roots to be able to start taking out minions from your opponent, as we see an instant replay just for you guys. Tyrion comes in the hand of MagicWind, which is not what he wants to see. Already has Repentance and that Avenge in his hand. So that's not what he wants to see, obviously. Looks like it's probably going to be a hero power here. The problem with having, these Living Roots in this particular situation, obviously it would be great against a Knife Juggler, but against a Haunted Creeper, it's just really poor. I imagine he's going to hit this Haunted Creeper, though. I don't see a point of hitting the face. Or not.
I mean, then your opponent could play the Knife Juggler and trigger it next turn.
That is true. You could play a Knife Juggler and trade it. The one problem now, the thing is, now MagicWind can't really play Redemption unless he just wants the Knife Juggler back, but it looks like it's just going to be this Knife Juggler anyway. And, yeah, a really poor hand here from Valeera. Doesn't really have anything to do other than just use his hero power to kill this Knife Juggler. And that's kind of the strength of having Living Roots, right? At least you're able to kill off something like that Knife Juggler. But you wouldn't really play the Temple BGH here because that's going to be very useful later in the game.
Ooh, that's a nice pickup considering the hand that MagicWind was having. Otherwise, he's going to play manual Secret Paladin, which is not something you want to play.
Right, the problem is, though, it's going to get immediately just Keeper down. Although, to be fair, if you put up Avenge and the Redemption, then once it gets Keeper down, it can get big right away again.
I mean, Valeera can play the... I think you play the Shredder anyway, because one of the secrets can be Avenge, and you want to save the Keeper to do that.
Right. That's true. On the other hand, MagicWind deciding whether or not he wants to go for the Redemption or the Repentance. Makes sense to go for the Redemption here because there could just be a Shredder, like you said. And Shredder getting hit by the Repentance isn't too big of a deal. You're not too sad if it dies anyway. So it is the Shredder that comes down, doesn't see any Repentance.
Oh.
And yeah, that is very bad for MagicWind right here. Getting that Avenge into the hand. Can't do anything but play that Repentance and hero power. He could bluff that he could do something else, but doesn't really make any sense here. So yep, going to be that coming onto the field. He is getting a fair bit of damage onto the face of Valeera here, so that's kind of nice. Innovate's very good for Valeera. He wants to have that. And going to see what happens here. This 1/1's is going to come back, which is not good for MagicWind. This is basically kind of a bluff for MagicWind, right? You might as well just play out the 1/1, or else your opponent knows what's going on.
Yeah, I think you attack into the 1/1 anyway, and you see what happens.
Right.
Valeera is having second thoughts, which...
He's thinking about whether he should hero power or not, right? Because if there's a noble sacrifice, then he wants his Shredder to be able to attack into something rather than just, getting blocked by get down.
I mean, that case is not particularly bad. I think in this situation than in the others. I mean, he could play PGH though if the Avenge goes. Oh,
wow! So Avenge goes off on this Secret Keeper. The Repentance is only going to do 1 damage to this BGH, and the 1/1 comes back as is redeemed. So this is not a good situation. He's even just gonna hit the face here with this Shredder.
Yeah, I mean, you're a Druid and you have Savage Roar and you have...
You're Druid and you have Savage Roar, exactly.
the Asian law as well. So I don't think you care that much about the 1/1s.
Haunted Creeper is not the greatest, especially because you've already used most of your secrets, so that's probably at the really low end of what MagicWind could have gotten here. Even something like a Shield Minibot would have been better for him. But yeah, things are not looking good for MagicWind. I imagine he just plays that Avenge out and he uses hero power. And then
Yeah, and the trouble MagicWind is not he's losing this very fair match here, that he is going to face a possible control warrior and a rogue coming up with this secret paladin, which will be uphill battle for him.
right, if he loses this, it's really bad, like you just mentioned. He can't. I mean, this is one. If he takes this victory right here, then it's really good. Obviously, it's looking bad, but going into the match, it looked really good, right? Because you basically mind gamed your opponent by playing the Secret Paladin into, a 2 out of 3 situation where it's bad, and kind of basically mind game your opponent into going with the Druid in that instance. And now that you've done that, and now you're losing, it's really going to backfire if that happens, because from there, like you said, your opponent just has really good matchups. So yeah, you saw there about 14 or so % chance for the Mysterious Challenger to hit the field. Let's see if he picks it up. Gets a Noble Sacrifice. That is the exact opposite of Mysterious Challenger. You want to pick that up off the Mysterious Challenger. So yeah, looking basically as dismal as it could possibly be here for MagicWind.
Yeah, this is really mythical manual Secret Paladin that everybody likes to see if you're playing against the Secret Paladin.
Right, this is the dream for the non-Secret Paladin player. And you can't even race, right? You only have 5 attack on board, meanwhile your opponent has 10 and he's a druid with a lot of burst. So you have to start trading, which is not what you want to be doing as Secret Paladin.
And it can be Mia House Milestone.
It's true. It's true. That is a possibility, but not going to be happening here. MagicWind realizes that there's no swipe in hand. It would have definitely been used last turn, so it definitely makes sense for him to just pop his creeper and get as much.
Ooh, wow!
Wow, that is a Kazan. Yeah, sees a Noble Sacrifice, and he can just basically, go with your biggest attack minion to face, start trading with your lowest attack minion. This is just really bad for MagicWind. Can't even play the Tyrion right now. Let's see if he picks something big. I mean, he's dead on board, though, so I don't... Well, he's not dead on board, but he's close to dead on board. If he attacks him with his Muster for Battle, he's dead on board. But I don't see any way he gets out of this. There's no taunt, there's no Noble Sacrifice, there's no anything, there's no healing. Doesn't matter how much he trades, because there's a Savage Roar in the hand of Valeera. And if he goes all face here, he's definitely dead.
I think you go for Doomsayer.
Yeah, you're probably right, actually. I think the only way you actually win this game is you have less than a 1 in 80 chance at this point, right? So you might as well go for Doomsayer. Goes into 14, does MagicWind, gonna take care of this Fairy Dragon. But unfortunately, Savage Roar is going to be more than enough. We see Valeera already hovering over the card. And that's going to be game 1 going over to TongFu's Valeera.
I think Waldy is very happy in the casting deaths.
Alright, so that's definitely an unfavored matchup for the Druid that was taken there by Valeera. It's going to have to be the Secret Paladin taking an unfavored matchup off of either Warrior or Rogue, which is definitely possible. We see Secret Paladins managing to take wins off that all the time. The one issue is that the Paladin from MagicWind looks like it curves pretty low. A lot of times when you're trying to win a matchup against, something that you're not favored against, you really need to have those extra cards like Ragnaros on top of Tyrion, stuff like that, in order to really push the game over the top.
It's definitely the case, but things I'm not looking. But I'm thinking, what do you go if you're MagicWind here? Like you have already lose a favorable matchup, and you probably go with the Druid in hope that you go against the Rogue and you get a really good hand.
Well, the question is whether he wants to just try to pick up a win with Secret Paladin, or if he wants to just try to pick up a win any way he can. This series might have honestly been decided by that one game, because MagicWind might not be able to pick up a win with the Paladin from now on. But we're going to see the Druid versus the Rogue here. MagicWind switching up, going with a Druid now, and going to be a reasonable matchup against this Rogue from Valeera. And we see the Tomb Pillager in there. as we see the Harrison come into the hand of MagicWind as well. We'll see. It's most likely going to be Oil Rogue, but it could. There's an off chance it could be Miracle Rogue.
I mean, this could be just simple Magical Rogue, but it's definitely not a Mill Rogue from what we see here.
Yep, definitely not so. But Valeera getting both of these Eviscerates in hand right now is not good for him at all. He really wants as many minions as possible and to basically supplement those minions with a decent amount of spells. But right now, all these Eviscerates are not doing him any good. At least he can maybe cycle with that Blood Mage Thanos, so that there's that going for him.
Yes, it's true. Actually, he would probably play the Blade Flurry next turn.
He could Blade Flurry, you're right, because it would be kind of 2 for 2, right? You're using your Deadly Poison for the Darnassus, you're using your Blade Flurry for the Shade, and the Shade could be really problematic going forward, so I can definitely see him just going for that. But nope, going to go for the Blood Mage Thanos. It kind of makes sense for him to go with Thanos first, in a way, because your Flurry kills off this Shade right now anyway, or his next turn anyway, and it will also deal damage to whatever else is on the board. For instance, if there was a Shredder coming up next turn, then Flurry would be much, much better.
Yes, that makes sense, but Keeper Growth coming down.
Keeper of the Grove silencing this Blood Mage is reasonable, because you're denying the Rogue a card, and Rogue really relies on its cards. The thing is, it's kind of like Grim Patron Warrior, right? Where drawing some cards will allow you to draw to even more cards, and if you can just stop the initial draw of cards, it can be really painful. I'd be surprised if there's a kill. Yeah, it's a little bit strange, honestly, that there was a kill there. And Rag, wow, Rag in the Rogue. I have not seen that in Rogue in a long time. Basically, the very beginning of Oil Rogue, there was Rag in this deck, but not since then. So, yeah, Valeera with a bit of a tough decision here. He could go for Flurry. He would want to develop his Tomb Pillager, but if he does, though, he might not get a good Flurry later. Also, we do see the Harrison in hand, so that would be pretty disastrous. If we see a Flurry, he might just Redagger, but yeah, going to be the Tomb Pillager coming down, which means that MagicWind has a very nice Harrison right now.
Yeah, I think there isn't any way that you can have a better Harrison turn.
Right.
And
some people might be thinking, oh, you know, there could be Tinker Sharpsoul Oil on a dagger later, but that almost never happens. With the Rogue, usually if you're Tinker something up, you're going to be Flurrying immediately afterward. And even just trades off his Shade does MagicWind. So really respecting that Flurry potential. Coin comes into the hand, obviously, of Valeera, which could help him in the future, particularly if he wants to get to Rag as quickly as possible. He could actually just use the coin right now and kill this Harrison Jones. In a couple of ways, actually. He could use the coin with the SI7 agent and the Eviscerate, or he could use it with Deadly Poison and the SI as well.
I think the way I mean
looks like it might be double Eviscerate, which would be a bit strange. I think you just go for the SI7 agent here, though, because Eviscerate's such a powerful spell that I don't really think you should get rid of it. I mean, it does allow you to be mana efficient in a way and dagger up, but on the other hand, now you don't have Eviscerates anymore, and you're really relying on that Blade Flurry.
Oh, Innova is probably not what MagicWind wants this turn because he's playing Stars, and that's not a card that you can discount.
Right, well, it could be useful in the future, so it's not the worst thing ever. In any case, going to be this SI7 agent coming out here, and nice for Valeera to kind of get rid of a lot of cards in this hand so he can sprint next turn, which is probably going to be the play. Although it could be something like a Flurry. We'll see. Darnassus comes in the hand of MagicWind. Not the greatest card to pick up right now. Could go for basically every single minion in his hand if he wanted to. On the other hand, he could just go for the Shredder plus the Druid of the Claw. However, you're a bit susceptible to Blade Flurry in that situation.
Yeah, I guess that's his concern there. You could go for Druid Claw Thanasis and innovate.
I kind of like
Uh,
Druid Claw plus Swipe.
yeah, yeah, I was going to say that, but you can innovate Thanasis as well. But yeah, innovate Thanasis is not bad at all in this circumstance. But
Well, unless you...
MagicWind disagrees.
Well, if you innervate the Darnassus right now, you basically get destroyed by Blade Flurry. Wow, that is a great card to get.
Oh,
So now he can sprint and flurry on the same turn, which is pretty amazing here. Even picks up the
oh,
backstab, gets another prep. The prep doesn't really help too much in this situation, but it will be very useful in the future. I'm actually going to go for the sap, which is pretty interesting. Perhaps just wanting to go for a better flurry in the future. Oh, gonna actually just kill off this Shredder. Interesting. And a Jeweled Scarab comes out, which is one of the worst things you can get. Gonna commit a backstab to this as well. I guess he just wants to have, you know, as little stuff on the board as possible when this rag comes out. Second innervate for MagicWind definitely doesn't want that. However, if he does pick up Savage Roar, then he has lethal with Swipe, but he's gonna use the Swipe right now, it seems.
But does this game came down to the rag? What MagicWind? Oh, I guess
could.
You don't have anything to play anyway, and you can threaten lethal with that Thanasis. I'm guessing you play rag.
Right. I mean, you might as well go for it, right? Even though you could die to combo, you're taking a couple of risks here. It takes out the Darnassus, which is better than hitting face in this situation. Savage Roar pickup would be lethal, and he actually does pick it up. So that's going to be game going over to MagicWind.
That's going to be game.
So MagicWind ties with the series 1-1. His Druid has been cleared. Actually, Druids of both players have been cleared there, so not going to see any Druid mirrors today. Meanwhile, we have Paladin and Warlock remaining for MagicWind, and we have Rogue and Warrior remaining for Valeera. We do not know what kind of Warrior, nor do we know what kind of Warlock it is for MagicWind, so we'll see how that plays itself out going forward.
Yeah, actually, nothing actually works better for MagicWind. He saw the rack, and actually, I think Valeera might have cut some 500 lives to get a rack into the deck. So actually, it's not that good for the Rogue to go up against the Paladin there.
What makes you think he got Fan and Ice for Rag?
Because as far as my understanding from for Valeera, Fountain of Lives is the first card that he cut when he tries to sneak some other card into his Rogue deck.
Okay. I don't know. I think it's Fan of Knives is such an integral card in Rogue at the moment because of Paladin, because of, you know, so many other classes where it's good against. But we are going to see the Rogue versus the Paladin here. It's going to be on the Paladin to have a really fast start and to kind of hope that the Rogue doesn't have a fast start or a good, you know, responsive hand of its own.
Yeah, and giving away that low set, which is interesting thinking there. But MagicWind is thinking again, and I think he's pretty happy about getting a coin to begin with.
Yeah, you can see the reasoning why he wants to get rid of Lothar, right? Because he wants to coin into the Mysterious Challenger, which means that he doesn't want to have a 5-drop anyway. But, and he also kind of wants, you know, earlier maiden, so he doesn't fall too far behind against the Rogue. Because if he falls behind on board, once the Mysterious Challenger comes out, then it gets pretty easily dealt with anyway.
What's one? I think you attack.
Sorry?
Don't you?
What?
You attack to the face because you don't have anything to do except playing naked as a 7 agent.
But you could just play the naked as a 7 agent because you have Tomb Pillager anyway.
Yeah, I guess.
By the way, I'm screen sharing, so if you want to take a look. Anyway, it's just going to be the naked SA7, which is pretty normal, particularly because that's what he kept in his opening hand. He kept that SA7 agent and the Tomb Pillager. And for MagicWind here, he's already picked up Competitive Spirit, which is obviously a pretty bad pickup considering he is held on to this Mysterious Challenger. Can actually use his coin here, it looks like, just to get a bigger board. I'm actually going to use this Keeper of Olamons to clear the board and not get dominated right now. Take out that SI7 agent, nice and easy.
Oh.
Right, second flurry comes in the hand of Valeera, which could be good or could be bad. The problem with drawing double Blade Flurry in your opening hand is, or towards your opening hand, is that you have to use it or else you fall behind and you might not be able to use it in a more optimal spot. But there could be two good situations to use it, so there is that.
Yeah, and MagicWind is... I think you play Shredder. Otherwise,
there's a couple options here.
You can play 1/1/2, but
right. I mean, we see in the hand that there's Blade Flurry, so we know that something like Secret Keeper plus Haunted Creeper, that's a tongue twister, by the way, could be, you know, pretty disastrous. As we see Snow Chugga, that's actually pretty good. So Snow Chugga comes into the hand. However, it will die to Flurry if we see MagicWind come into the board. But it's probably going to be Lothal next. It's probably going to be Lothal next anyway. So.
Yeah. But I don't think Valeera is going to attack anyway because you want to save the 3 attack.
Well, you can't attack because you already attacked.
I mean, this turn. For Valeera and.
Wait, what? He can't attack because he's frozen, and he couldn't attack the turn before because he already attacked.
Yeah, yeah. Anyway, this...
Alright, anyway, so there's nothing to do here, which is unfortunate. And this is basically what it looks like. This is what it looks like when the Paladin, you know, is able to take a win in this matchup, you know, with Rogue having nothing to do, obviously because of that Lothal, but also because the hand is pretty poor. Even if Rogue didn't have all of its, you know, spells locked like that, what do you do here? You flurry, and then, you know, the next turn is kind of a disaster as well. This is just looking really bad for Valeera. Dr. Boom comes in hand, but that's not too useful at all. So it's probably going to be have to be a flurry plus either a BGH or a sap or both. Can actually go for the Tinkers, which he doesn't. I guess he's just going to clear everything and make this Snow Chugga come back. But that's not too optimal either, because you're going to get frozen again. So Snow Chugga comes back, no redemption, or no avenge, excuse me. Oh, there is avenge. Sorry about that.
There's avenge, and actually he could save this. He could coin this stuff.
Right. So it's good for him that he was able to get that avenge onto the Snow Chugga.
And the avenge is neutralized that way. Dr. Boom comes down, will be mad with this.
Yeah, the big issue is that there's a Noble Sacrifice up, and also, well, I guess the
Revenge doesn't really matter.
Repentance doesn't really doesn't really do too much, but it does allow the Boombot to kill in one hit. And there's a lot of damage coming to the Rogue right now. It doesn't really have any time to play Dr. Boom. In fact, how much damage is there? Just
depends on Boombots.
Right. Just one damage. So if you're MagicWind here, it's kind of tempting to just play everything out. But yeah, maybe you just go for a mix, right? You go for Blessing of Kings and you fill the board with everything else. Maybe you go Blessing of Kings plus,
I
Haunted
think you want
Creeper
to play
and
Slow Chugger. I think you definitely want to play Slow Chugger. But he's reaching for that Shredder as well, making his board more sticky, which is understandable. But the hand of Valeera is actually kind of counter to that.
I kind of
Oh,
like
this
this
is,
play. I kind of like this play. Just putting as much damage to your opponent as possible. If you see a second sap, you're kind of okay going into the future because you probably have another minion that you can deal with. I mean, so either you sap the Boombot or you sap the Shredder. You can't sap both. If there's a Blade Flare, you probably have to attack into the Boombot, which is very, very painful.
I think, yeah, actually he could do this. And where does Boombox go? Oh, kill the.
Boombots hate the Zerdrakes. They absolutely hate them. Alright, so he's seen, speaking of MagicWind, he's seen 2 flurries already, so now he can just completely fill the board. He's already seen that a Zerdrake and a Blood Mage Thalanos as well, so there's unlikely going to be something like spell damage Fan Knives, so basically he's just going to completely commit to this
You
board.
could be either direct into 5 of the knives.
You could, what? Sorry?
It could be a Zodrak into 5 of the knives.
Right, but the point is it's very unlikely, so instead of not doing that, you should probably do what he just did. There's the Fan of Knives, no Zerdrick, unfortunately, and the Fan of Knives doesn't really do anything unless there's spell damage, and even with spell damage, it doesn't really do too much anyway. Gonna attack in is Valeera, gonna proc Avenge, Competitive Spirit's coming right behind it, and I don't think there's any way for Valeera to survive.
No. Yeah, I guess that's where Valeera's kind of personality really not doing his favor. That he's I mean, I'm a rogue player and I'm doing green rogue because I can't change deck anymore. So
right. Well, that's going to be game number 3, going over to MagicWind, and he takes a lead in the series, 2-1. He is on match point to get to the round of 4, and most importantly, he's able to reverse the result of earlier. Earlier we saw the win from the Druid against the... what did we see? We saw the win of the Druid of Valeera against the Paladin of MagicWind, which was obviously an upset. And we were saying that, you know, how is this Paladin going to win? How is it going to get a win against both Warrior and Rogue? So very important for MagicWind to pick that up and kind of even the series in that manner, getting a win that wasn't to be expected as far as the statistics go.
Well, I mean, the Rogue from Valeera is... well, I mean, I would say experimental, which is not something you will probably bring into tournaments, especially a tournament as important as this one. Yeah, Rag and Dr. Boom in both decks. I mean, I guess you want some big minions to stand on the board, but yeah, that's a problem. Ragnaros doesn't work really well with the mechanism of Oil Rogue to begin with, and
right. I mean, Rogue always just tries to be reactive to the opponent, always, you know, clearing things off the board, and once it gets to the mid and late game, they can push for a lot of damage and win the game. Whereas Rag, you're not really doing a whole lot with it. You can maybe push for a bit more damage, but you'd rather just have your standard combos that you get. And usually, I mean, a lot of times you can basically push for more damage if you have a nice mid-range minion instead. So we are going to be going into game number 4, match point, once again, just to mention that once again for MagicWind. And it's looking like it's going to be most likely Zoo, if I'm reading this correctly.
Yeah, but this hand is alright, but Valeera very happy to begin with the coin, and this will be an entirely different game for him, as we saw the win rate for him earlier. 86% win rate if going second for Valeera, and only 50 for him when he goes first.
Yeah, and you can tell he's really reliant on that extra card and the coin, which, to be fair, a lot of Rogue players definitely prefer that. Going to be the Honda Creeper coming out here next for MagicWind, it looks like. And the reason why he didn't play the Knife Juggler in 2 is because you're really afraid of something like Coin, SI7 Agent. A couple of sticky minions here on the board for MagicWind, which is good because it's hard for Rogue to kill, but on the other hand, Rogue doesn't really have to do anything because you're not really taking too much damage. So you could just hit the face and pass, honestly.
You know, he might be thinking defending August next turn.
Right, but then you can take care of it then, which is not too big of a deal.
Definitely not. But,
Alright, so it looks like MagicWind's going to start committing to the board here with this Knife Juggler and Dark Peddler. None of these are too great. There's no real difference between the Hungry Crab and the Secret Keeper in this matchup. So you pick one of those.
I think you pick the Hungry Crab.
Just in case there's a Collate Oracle.
Yeah. Because you know there isn't going to be secret, but you are not entirely sure there isn't going to be Moloch.
And there could maybe be some crazy Discover mechanic that helps with beast energy potentially. So yeah, you definitely
that's one of the consideration.
All right, so going to be just this Blade Flurry as well as the Eviscerate to take out the board here. Pretty good clear, but initiative goes back to MagicWind, so Valeera not out of the woods yet.
Well, Valeera can play other deck into Crab into Sap, so I think he's not too unhappy about it. Hungry Crabs coming down. Valeera is happy that he's not playing Milrook.
Right.
Ooh.
So actually going to sap this. This is, I guess he really just wants to gain the tempo here and start pushing damage to face. A lot of times you see players prefer sapping the creature that comes out of the Void Walker, or excuse me, the Void Caller, because that's much harder to play. For instance, if it's a Doom Guard, you have to discard cards to get it out. If it's a Mal'Ganis, you have to go up to 9 mana.
Oh.
So really aggressive here by Valeera.
Big Game Hunter will really make some work here, and MagicWind actually saw the rag before, so definitely something to look for.
So Valeera's going to trade here because he doesn't want his Kazan to die to the Void Caller straight up. But that's unfortunate for him because, I mean, this just shows how weak Kazan is, right? It just dies to the Void Caller and something pops out of it. Although on the other hand, it's nice that he killed it because now the Doom Guard's not going to come out. But it does make his Azure Drake very, very weak, and I can't help but favor MagicWind in the situation right now. Eviscerate comes in the hand of Valeera, which he can use to kill Dr. Boom, but again, he's behind as far as initiative goes. Can actually hit the face. I'm not really sure what his intention is here.
Sending crazy? No, he's killing his Boom Bomb, which I don't.
I feel like this turn was played very, very quickly by Valeera. He could have cleared the Dr. Boom.
No, I think it has come to a point that Valeera is kind of mentally meltdown.
He's checked out of the game.
He's checked out of the game, I think.
Right.
Otherwise, there's no reason for him to do that. Actually, I watched his stream and basically, if was on stream, basically he was studying how I'm supposed to play this game and something like that.
The funny thing is we even see this Abusive Sergeant, which looks like he's just going to be pushing some damage, but he could have gone for Abusive Sergeant and kill on something like a Lothar, perhaps. Tinker Sharp Sword is actually pretty good here for Valeera. He can clear this board now. He's going to take a lot of damage, however. First of all, the 7, unless he uses Eviscerate, I suppose. I guess you go phase here just so you don't take too much damage. And use the Eviscerate afterward, but that's really... Oh, it's actually an Eviscerate face. That actually might be his only way of winning. If you think about it, just hope the rag hits the face. I kind of actually like this play. That's really his only way of winning. Obviously, you're kind of dead if Mal'Ganis hits the field, but you're dead if Mal'Ganis hits the field anyway. So yeah, just hit the face.
But you have rag. You have rag, which
Right, but Rag...
Which basically charge, then you can get the ball back, and you can get some other damage.
Wow, so
Now,
Doomguard's gonna come out here, which means he could discard the Big Imp Hunter. So it discards the BGH and the Power Overwhelming. Valeera sees that, but the Doomguard isn't discarded, crucially. So going to be a lot of damage. And MagicWind looks like he realizes that that could be Reg, since it's been in the hand the entire game. We'll see if he decides to tap or not. Doesn't tap.
Yeah, it needs second. That's not the second backstep. And face is not a place in this game.
Right, so that's going to be game going over to MagicWind, and he even has Jiraxis in this deck. So, has lethal a couple of ways here, does MagicWind. Going to show him both cards in his hand, and that's going to be it. Valeera is out of the tournament.